Morning folks, Grandpa Greenwald, old man with a pan. Well, we've been growing our starter. Our starter came from way down here to way up here. We're ready to go. We're ready to make some sourdough bread. So it's looking good. Alrighty, I zeroed out my scale. I have 600 grams of water. I held back 30 grams of water in case I need it later. So we'll put the 30 in, and I have a little bit more than room temperature water. It's like maybe 85 degrees water. Again, I want this nice warmth. I want this to be in a healthy environment so it keeps growing. So that's it. I'm going to zero out the scale again. 600 grams of water. I'm going to dump sourdough down to here. I'm trying to get about 300 grams out of this jar. Whatever I don't get, I don't get. Meaning that I can do with less in this recipe. Whoa, we got 245 grams right there. I'm gonna save some to refeed my starter. All right, we're way back down here now to really way down there. So we're way right at the bottom. I'm gonna stick it here until I feed it, and I'll position it correctly, and we'll feed it and put it back in the fridge. We're done with the starter right now. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So where are our water? We have 270 grams of starter in the bowl. All right, I'm just gonna mix this down around with the water and kind of get that broken up a little bit. Okay, next ingredient. I'm gonna zero out my scale again. I'm gonna dump in 36 grams or 36 grams or mil of olive oil. So again, I'm just looking at the scale here. Oh, actually went over 1 gram, 37 grams of olive oil. And again, I'll mix this around, and we'll start adding our bread flour. We need 900 grams of flour that we're going to dump in. I'm going to use 200 grams of wheat. And again, I zeroed my scale. Never move the bowl. Got 205 grams of wheat. That's okay. So that makes this at 700 or 695 grams. $698 grams. I'm gonna, just for grams, 690 grams. All right, in total, we have 900 grams of bread flour in there, plus the flour that came with the starter. So that's it. There's our recipe almost. The last thing we need to do, and I don't put that in with the starter and the water and the olive oil, is the salt. I measured out 20 grams of salt. We're going to go in at 2% on the salt. So I'll just sprinkle this around on top of the flour, and it'll gradually get mixed in. This is kind of the important part here when you decide whether you got the right texture in there and the right moisture amount. That's why I reserve the extra the extra 30 grams of water. 30 grams of water in some bread is a lot of water. Good. So what we'll do now is start the auto leach process, is where we're just going to let the bread sit. I'm going to cover and let the dough set and let it absorb all of the rest of that flour that's not quite mixed in there. It'll soak all of that up. I'm not going to add any more water. I think we're probably pretty good on the water here. And I'm going to give this about 30 to 40 minutes just to set up before we start our actual folds on the bread. All right, I'll be back in about 30 minutes and we'll fold this some more. All right, starter's repad. You can see that the tape is down by the bottom there. That's not really important there. I'm going to take this tape or the starter and put it back in the fridge. It's been fed. I'll put it back in the fridge for next time, and we'll start the entire process again. Taking it out, let it come to temperature, let it feed on everything that's in there already before we feed. So we'll start that process again. All right, it's been about 45 minutes or so. And things just sitting there. All right, time to start folding it. The first thing you do is you're going to wet your hands so the dough doesn't stick. And I'm going to try to get it down in this side. And we're going to go ahead and just fold it around over on top of itself. Okay. Alrighty, that's mixed pretty good. And we just wanted to fold it over on itself until it balls up a little bit. All right, not too bad. Not too bad. That's what we got. So we're going to wait about 20 minutes, and we're going to come back and fold the dough again. We'll do that for a total of 3 times, not including what we just did. We're going to do it 3 more times. So I'll set my alarm, and we'll be back in 20 minutes and fold this baby again. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. Time to fold this dough again. See what it's all about here. So we're stretching it out and folding it over on itself. And that helps develop the gluten. Wow, nice stretch there. We'll just do 4 folds on this and cover the whole 4 sides. And let it rest another 20 minutes or so. What happens when it rests, the gluten relaxes and makes it easier to stretch and fold over. So we're going to do this 2 more times, and then we're ready to let it set and rise. This dough ready to go. We'll jump back in here the last time we do it, show you how strong our dough is. All righty. This is our third and our last fold on our bread dough. And we're stretching her out, folding it over on itself. And if you don't know this technique, this just takes the place of kneading. And the purpose of that is just to strengthen the gluten in your dough. I mean, you can see how thin that dough can get right there. Look how thin that is. Wow. All right. That's firmed up now. All right, we're probably maybe about 4 hours, and we'll be ready to shake it. And I'll be back. All righty. Gave it about an extra hour. Whoa. Rose nice. Real nice here. See what we got there. Well, we're out. Sitting on the side of the bowl, but we're out. Wow. There's a lot of flour there. I think I'm gonna skip the shaking step and just go ahead and fold them and get them in the pan. Look at the bubbles popping up all over the place. Nice looking dough. Trying to measure it. Keep on the bread in. We're still relaxed here, so get this one. Get this one folded also. Nice. All righty, we're going to let those set. They'll probably spend the night in the fridge and get baked tomorrow. All righty, folks, we got the bread in the shaped in the pan. We're ready to go. What I'm going to do is let these rise on the countertop for a couple hours, and they'll start getting pretty good out here, and then I'll set them in the fridge before long, after a couple hours. I don't want them to be risen this much before they get in the fridge. I want them to be just maybe at the top of the dish, or maybe a little bit higher. But we'll put them in, they'll slow down, and we'll bake them tomorrow. All righty, folks. We took the dough out of the fridge about 2 hours ago, and it's risen really nicely out here. There's some beautiful loaves there. And now comes my nemesis, if that's the right word for that, is scoring the bread. We're ready to put it in the oven. We are just springing back, push it down, it springs right back, just comes with it. So there's two ways. There's what's called a lame, and I'm not real good at it with a lame, and I have a super sharp steak knife that I hunted for, and I'm going to try that first. This is what I normally use. Actually, I don't think I'm going to use the lame if we have some success here. What I did want to try today is wetting the blade a little bit. I normally get a little bit of a drag, but that dough's got to be perfect. Got to be perfect. Let's just do it with a drag and slice right across the center. You got to be quick and deliberate about it, not rough. Well, that's not too shabby. All right, we've got a nice score there. Nice score there. I'm going to go ahead and do this one also. And we might try to fool around with it a little bit. Timer, I'm coming. I'm coming. Timer. Don't put a timer on. Just stay there. I have the oven preheated for 375 degrees. Deliberate and quick. Bread's in the oven. And I'm going to pour in the water until I have an iron skillet heating in the pan. We'll create some continuous steam there, and then we'll spray some steam in. Boom. Timer set. 45 minutes. We're making us some bread today. All right, it's been 45 minutes. I took this one out. I want to take the temperature inside. We have 200 degrees in there. I'm going to put it back in for a couple more minutes. I want to bring that up just a little bit. It's done, but I want to make certain we don't have any soft spots inside, any doughiness. All right, timer's going off again. We're done with this. I'm canceling it all out. We are done with this. Holy moly. All right, those are looking pretty good there. Let me take the temperature again. I'm not putting it back in. No. I have nothing on that. We got 2039. I'm happy with 2039. Put this one in the same hole. I start out with 2039 over 204, 205. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, let's see if we can. It should work. Should work. Works every time. There you go, folks. Sourdough bread from start to finish. Hopefully, I left you with a few hints or shown you a few ways that I do it, that I'm successful on it. By all means, send me your comments. I want to know what you're thinking. What am I about my process? How can I improve the process a little bit? But I did okay with the scoring. I'm okay with the scoring. We're going to call success, folks. Thanks for coming by.